Tour guide at a university. Small group gets into our gardens where there's a big turtle pond. Girl gets excited and wants a close-up of the largest snapping turtle. Girl loses her phone to the turtle and tries to get the university to buy her a new one. Girl was lucky she still has all her fingers. I work at a brewery tap room and take people on brewery tours. During fermentation, CO2 is produced and excess comes out through a runoff pipe and into a water bucket. One of the attendees, who was being a pain and trying to be funny but nobody was laughing, asked me what the pipe was for, so I gladly explained. He then asked what would happen if he breathed it in disbelief of his stupidity. I told him he would pass out, damage his brain. He then proceeded to grab the pipe and take a breath. He was then ejected and barred. Some people are just beyond belief. Couple of guys I used to play cricket with went on a school trip to Auschwitz and decided to steal a small pair of glasses and some buttons they found half buried in the ground. They were detained by Polish police while they were leaving the site. Hard to know what goes through people's heads sometimes. My cousin is a tourist guide and biologist. Most of his tours are in Africa. He instructed his group of 20-25 people, including kids, not to wear any type of earrings or collars, especially shiny stuff, since they were about to go into a thick forest to try to see a bunch of animals. This is very important because 20-25 make a lot of noise, which makes wild animals run away or hide. It's even worse if they're wearing shiny stuff they can spot from far away. Okay, so this woman complains, decides to wear shiny earrings anyway. Cousin tells her to get rid of them or she ain't coming with the group, so she obeys but puts them on a bit later. Some species of monkeys in that area love shiny stuff. They rip the earrings from her ears. I was working on a tourist island in Australia when this man pulled out almost all the back feathers of a peacock because he wanted to keep one. He sneaked up behind it and grabbed a huge handful and yanked them all out. He was immediately escorted off the island. The peacock had a huge bare patch and most of its beautiful feathers were gone. Sad. Technically not a tourist guide, but I was doing a tour of our production facility to some people from head office. As we got to one of the pallet out feeds, I mentioned the light curtain, which was a safety feature that stopped the conveyors once the light was broken. And so for some damn reason one of the ladies decides to stick her hand through the light to test it, stopping the production line and also risking her safety by doing it in the first place. I asked her not to do that again and went about resetting the machine to start up again. No more than 3 seconds after doing so, she stuck her hand through the curtain again, stopping everything. She looked at me with the most stupid expression on her face as I basically said, "What the fuck?" To this day I don't know why she did it or what her deal was. I used to work at a heritage site. It was an old military installation with a lot of remaining original structures, bunk beds, cafeteria equipment, computers, etc. Every day it was a constant effort to remind people, read, kids, not to jump on the beds, not to slam doors open, not to punch every button like it owes them money. The absolute worst was a group of kids on a school trip. Within the first 10 minutes we're walking through the tech portion of the exhibit, where we had a wall lined with Burroughs large systems machines, P5000s, all behind this little fence about waist high. I turned to demonstrate some of the pieces, and when I looked back at the group, one of them had jumped over the barrier, opened one of the units, and started pulling out handfuls of digital tape from the reels inside. I just about jumped on the kid when their teacher did just that. She jumped the barrier, smacked the kid's hands and took him outside. I immediately ended the tour and had them all refunded, as I couldn't imagine what else could happen. Took a class of middle schoolers to a museum, and one of my asshole students dragged his hand across a 3,000-year-old Indian painting. Later on I found out the object was almost certainly a reproduction, but I nearly died of rage on the spot. Edit. The student was with us on a 45-day placement for severe behavioral issues. He earned enough point in school to qualify for the field trip. Never again. Not me. My best friend's tour guide on an island off the Australian coast. He saw one of the tour ignore the huge signs warning people not to go to the edge of the water. Predictably, the tourist gets hit by a huge wave, swept out to sea. I know it was the worst thing the tour guide ever saw because he and my best friend both went into the sea to rescue the tourist. And they both died. Funniest guy I ever met. Miss him most days. The tourist who caused it all. Predictably, he survived. Pretty sure he doesn't feel too good about the whole thing. I had a guest, snorkeling, try and grab the tail of the barracuda as he swam up behind it. Luckily, I was able to hit the guest with a dive fin from the boat to stop him before he got a hold. If he had grabbed on, I'm sure he would have been ripped to pieces by that fish. Not a tour guide, but I guess you could say I work in the tourism industry. I work ground crew for a company that does helicopter tours. Number one rule for customers is, don't walk under the tail boom, the rotor will kill you and it will hurt. It's unbelievable how many people have a death wish out there. People see the fastest way to the other side of the helicopter and don't stop to think, oh hey, that spinning blade may or may not slice my whole fucking head off. Let's see how close we can get to it. Tour guide boat captain in the Caribbean. We had about 40-50 people on the boat, got off. We would normally go feed swimming pigs, which someone would get nipped from them from doing stupid shit, but nothing too serious. Well, the next stop after that was another island where we would hand feed turtle, sharks, and stingrays. So we would tell the people to hold it with the palm open and food in the middle for the stingrays, and they would come over the top and take it out. The turtles and the sharks put it in the water holding it in the tips, and when they are coming for it, let go. Well, of course, this dingus decided he would be tough and feed this baby shark, no longer than your forearm, without letting go. Shark proceeds to bite his fingers. He screams and jumps up out of the water and flicks it off of his hand, pulling one of his fingernails off in the process. So that's one I always remember. I used to give tours at my university. There was a group of middle schoolers I was giving a tour to show them why they should want to go college. Yatta yatta. There was this one kid who kept trying to sneak away and was whistling at just about every girl who walked by. Weird. Okay, whatever, he thinks he's a big shot. Then a very attractive girl comes jogging by us, and he tried to grab her and starts air humping while he watches her run away from us. I was mortified. I ended the tour. I was done with him. The teachers didn't even care. That was probably the worst part. Didn't happen to me, but one of my company's tour guides was on a flight with a bunch of middle schoolers. One of the boys got caught jerking it. In his seat, next to a girl who wasn't even from his school. I was on a tour with my family in Cambodia and we visited Angkor Wat. Now, as everyone knows, Angkor Wat is teeming with tourists day and night. There was a long line to climb the beacon, basically the topmost tower, wherein the steps are very steep. It was a hot day, and when it was almost our turn, a middle-aged man took 2 steps, fell backward and started having a seizure. People came to his help immediately. However, one man who was also crowding around him did nothing but pull out his cell phone and start recording. Thankfully, everyone noticed and started yelling at the guy to put that shit away. He acted like the victim, though, and he said he was just trying to help. What a twat. Was on a tour of a small cave system somewhere in West Texas. It was really beautiful, and right after the guide told us how long it took for all the stalagmites and stalactites to form, she turned around to move on, and some guy leans way over and snaps off a small one and shoved it in his pocket. I was so surprised I just stared at him, and he smiled and winked at me like we had really gotten away with something and I was a co-conspirator or something. I was giving a tour of my university to the mother of a potential student. She tried to recruit me into a popular pyramid scheme, and then, when I tried to change the subject by asking what she did in her spare time, she told me about her conspiracy theories that she gives public talks on. They included the dangers of Wi-Fi, 5 grams, and chemtrails, and that the moon landings were faked by Stanley Kubrick, who was shortly thereafter assassinated by the CIA and replaced by a clone. I cut the tour short. Felt pretty sorry for her daughter, who appeared to think these theories were reasonable and had also been recruited into her mother's pyramid scheme at 17. Former whitewater rafting guide. There's a calmer section of the river people can, if they choose to, hop out and swim through. They are wearing life jackets, so you can just float through it. This woman decides she wants to try it and hops out. After she pops up, she slowly tilts forward until just the back of her jacket is out of the water and she's completely still. After 5 or so seconds of this, I start to realize this might not be intentional and paddle over and physically pick her head up above the water, followed by her gasping for air. I haul her in the boat and ask what happened. She said she didn't know what to do as she'd never been submerged in water before. 1. Why are you on a whitewater rafting trip? 2. Why didn't your strategy involve moving your body? Thank you for watching. Please press the like button and subscribe for more totally awesome comments read by yours truly. Bye.